On today's show, a Locked On Mavs announcement about the future of the show. Today on Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for checking in on the show. We're a daily Locked On Mavericks show covering the Dallas Mavericks daily, all throughout the offseason, into the season, and all that. Joining me, as always, from Mavs.com, Studio 41, the announcement analog, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
You just had to emphasize the always, didn't you?
I have for the last week.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, this is a bonus pod for the weekend. And if you've been watching the show for a while, you know, we've been together for a super long time. Gosh, what has it been?
This would have been year 7.
This is our 7th. Would have been our 7th year. But yeah, my time with Locked On Mavs will be coming to an end, as hard as that is to say. You know, when I'll talk about the reasons behind it and all of that, but you know, I think back to the very first call that you called me. You know, we did a show there in the basements of
the Dallas Mavs Fanatic show back when Dallas Sports Fanatic was Mavs Fanatic only, and I was writing for them, and that's who I was credentialed through, and so I was doing that show weekly. Yeah,
we like barely knew each other, and you were like, "Hey, would you want to hop on this podcast?" And just like as a guest and stuff. So I remember I went to DBU. It was like my only time
in person.
At DBU.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and went to this shady basement at DBU and record an episode. And then I don't know how long after that, but I get a call from you. I'm walking out of a John Legend concert. I'll never forget it. I was in a parking lot with my wife.
At the AAC, right?
No, it's actually in Fort Worth, like the Verizon, I think Verizon. And you're like, dude, this is crazy, but like, would you be interested in doing this like daily show with me, like a daily podcast about the Mavs?
Would you like to join me in spending way more time and talking to each other more than we talk to our wives? Would you like to do that with me?
And you know, so that obviously dominated our whole like car ride home. And I'm like sitting there telling Barb, I'm like, I'm already a night owl. Like I'm already going to be up and, you know, all this different stuff. I was like, you know, it'd be cool. Like, I don't know what we're going to get paid, but it's like, we get paid just to like talk about the Mavs and, you know, all this stuff. And I remember, our first few checks, you know, it's like what, 1,000 people, just transparency was like $30 or like $80 or whatever it was. And then, but the next 6 years of our show, when I think back to when I think of accomplishments or professional accomplishments, say that it's one of the things I'm the most proud of because we were consistent. We were dedicated to being like the best show that we could be. And one, because we believed in the format. And, you know, I will always stand on the format of what Locked On, what David Locke. I had something later on. I was going to thank him about it, but I'll say it now. You know, Locke took a chance on us back then. He trusted Nick for Nick to pick a co-host. And, you know, Nick and them both, you know, trusted me. And Locke is just, you know, I respect him so much for what he's built with the whole network and the belief in an idea of covering a team every single day in podcast format. And I believe in it so much. And the fans want it, fans crave it. And we've seen this show, you know, grow for 6 years now to where it's helped pay, you know, so many, it went from $30-$80 to part of our budget and paying our mortgage sometimes, and all of it. And it's like I will forever be grateful for Locke for answering all my questions about podcasting and all the stuff early on. And for all the screen assist stuff for Rudy.
And for our crossovers before the Mavs Jazz season,
yeah,
the playoff.
But you know about our show, we put in so much time. We built the relationships. We drove to the games and the practices and watched all the games over the past 6 years.
Every one of them. All preseason. I even got Isaac to watch Fan Jam, guys. That's how far.
we were dedicated to building, the best, the biggest, the longest running Mavericks podcast out there, and I firmly believe that we did that. And that's not a shot. That's not. I love all the people. We've put in the most time. Like, we've been doing this 6 years. Over 1,800 episodes. We're like 1,790 right now. Look that up today.
Yeah.
We're about to pass 1,800 episodes together, and I don't. That it's just something I'm super proud of. So let me talk a little bit about the reasons for me stepping away. It's kind of like twofold, or a couple different reasons for it. I'd say the conversation for me and our family started. The conversation about stepping away started off as family and health. When we first started doing this show, we didn't have any kids, and my oldest son, he's 5 now, and we literally just got back from the playground and listening to Friday Night Lights at this local high school stuff, and my daughter's 3 and just rules my world, and it's just it's a blast. It's so much fun. And over the past year, I've had some new health journeys that I've been on that I'm still navigating and still trying to figure that out. So the conversation really started there because doing the pod at the excellence that I and Nick both want to do it at, it requires late nights. It requires watching every single Mavs game. It requires, for 6 years now, it is me telling my wife, hey, got a Mavs game tonight, or canceling plans, or hey, you got the kids tonight, this game's tipping off at 7:30, or I'm going to these home games, and all this stuff. And so at some point, I knew the decision was going to be happening with that. And I couldn't hit the bar that I wanted to hit for a daily Mavericks show. I couldn't hit that bar of excellence. And Nick has been so gracious. Well, I'll save my stuff for Nick here in a little bit, but Nick has been so gracious with that of me not being able to, just with all the stuff I'm navigating stuff. So yeah, that was opportunity, or the first thing. But the second thing, I always thought that when, this Mavericks change for me was going to happen, I always thought that my whole Mavericks chapter was going to close all at the same time. And it was going to be like, hey, this part of my life, because I'm a pastor first and foremost. I'm a communications pastor, Irving Bible Church. I went to seminary, undergrad for biblical studies. Like my heart, my calling is in the ministry. And so but I just viewed this like Mavs thing as a chapter for the longest time. I'm like, dude, this is going to just close at a super, quick thing all at once, probably. And it's been super cool, and I'm super gracious, and it's super honoring to kind of have this opportunity. I'm going to be hopping on board with the Mavs organization. And so, I've been doing freelance stuff for them kind of on the side in my spare time here and there. But I'm going to be hopping on board with them, official employee. So now I'm going to be under all the rules. I can't talk rumors and all that fun stuff. But I'm excited about that, joining the content team over there with the Mavs, with Bobby and Kat and Chopper, Mike Marshall, and the crew. And I'll be creating different content. Studio 41 is kind of a fun avenue to entertain new stuff over there. And I only have so much Mavs time in my life, and so this is the flexibility. I think the biggest thing with that is the flexibility of it with my family and tackling some of my health stuff at the same time. It's kind of moving around some of my Mavs responsibilities to hey, some of them during the day, and saving some of my late nights for my family, for some of my health stuff, so I can get some sleep and get up early, do stuff. Nothing changes with my full-time job. I know some people listen from my church and different stuff. My full-time job.
Pastors listening, like,
yeah.
Hold on, wait, what is he doing?
It's like, what's going on? Nothing changed with that. That's my first and foremost. I'm there, and if you go to IBC, obviously stop and talk. A lot of people who've visited that are listeners too will stop and talk to me and stuff at church, and so yeah, there's that. And I want to say this. I know it's like a little monologue thing, and then we can kind of go back and forth about stuff, but we're going to do a last show. So I'm going to stick around for next few weeks, finish all of that out. And then I'll hop on from time to time, and I'm sure Nick will be traveling, gallivanting the world. I'm sure I'll hop on and fill in for here and there, or, some big moment will happen in a game. And it's like, dude, can you hop on? Let's hop on. Let's do
I'll
this.
Make you squirm when a trade happens that you can't talk about.
Let's freak out together and all that. But, obviously I didn't know you too well when we first started. Knew you a little bit. I don't consider very many people in my life. One, I don't say I have a ton of friends. I have a lot of like fringe friends, but I'd say I have a couple like best friends. And we started doing this. I never thought in a million years that, I was like, oh, cool, we're going to be friends. But now Nick is like one of my best friends. And I only have like 2 or 3 of those. And, we've traveled the country together over to San Francisco, and Nick and his wife Avery have watched our kids. And we're going to talk about like we're going to do like a last episode.
Yeah,
that's more of like fun here in a couple weeks. My last episode, we'll do like fun memories and different moments and stuff. But no, we started YouTube like 3 years ago. We're over 27,000 subs, 1,800 episodes together. That's all Nick, man. Like Nick is, I'm going to like really make his head big here, but he literally is like the most like talented, dedicated. You got the vision like in the sports media world. And man, like if I'm anybody, we're always talking about career stuff and life stuff. And it's like, dude, Nick could do any job in sports media and make it awesome. And obviously he's carried the show and allowed me to like tag along here and have fun. And I feel like our chemistry, when people reach out, which they do, and like, dude, how do you start a podcast? Or both in the sports world, church world, all these other things, that the amount of like random podcasting conversations I have. And they're always like, hey, what tips do you have? What's like the go-to thing, you got for me? And I was like, chemistry. Like number one, you can have the best equipment in the world. You can have all the cool stuff. But if you don't have chemistry with your co-host that you're doing this with, then you might as well just stop. And that's something I've took a lot of pride in, is our chemistry over the years. And I love you. I love you. Our friendship isn't changing. We're going to talk a little bit less. I guess I'll talk to my wife.
It's definitely changing.
I guess I'll talk to my wife more than you.
Yeah,
but now. But we'll still do some pods together every now and then. So I love you. I appreciate you letting me doing this for 6 years now.
It's never a let. I love you too. And this show would not be what it is without Isaac Harris. It would not be where we are. We would not have the chemistry wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same with the sources and the conversations that we have, and 2 of us there on the ground. And for the 3 years that I was in Florida, because I had to leave because of a job situation and family, you were here, boots on the ground, still connected. Like we were still part of the community and still part of that. Like the show wouldn't have grown nearly as much as it had without you. And you've been an amazing voice. You reel me in when I need to be reeled in. And we'll do the whole like memories and all that. We'll get more sappy in that episode. We'll do a live show so you guys can all join in and all that. So, but that'll be later in the month. We'll do it. You want to do a couple of games to start the season, so we'll do a couple of those, and then.
Yeah, we wanted to do this in a way that I didn't want to take away from the excitement of the season. So like, let's get it out now. All right, cool. Let's we'll keep on rolling for the next few weeks. Like, I don't want to talk about it a lot on Monday. We'll talk Mavs stuff on Monday. And then,
it'll be like nothing has happened on Monday. Like we probably won't even reference it on Monday.
Yeah, I know. Somebody's gonna be like, I swear that
didn't that guy say he was gonna leave?
Yeah, dang it, he's back.
Yeah.
Crap. This is what I've been praying for 6 years.
If you've been listening for 6 years and you've just been waiting for Isaac to leave, like, just go now. Like,
he's like Dwight Powell. He's like a cockroach. He won't go anywhere.
The Dwight Powell of Mavs podcasting.
Dwight Powell beat me out. What the crap? He beat me as
Dwight Powell did outlast you. We outlasted every Mavs podcast that's ever existed. The two of us, like, we've seen 100 maybe Mavs podcasts start and end, and Dwight Powell still remains.
So I'm still a Raccoon Squad member. I'll always be that. And hopefully
I have to give you a sticker to own and not to hand out now. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
So the future of the show, though, I will continue on the show. It'll still be 5 days a week, all throughout the season, all through the offseason and all that. Everything that you've come to know from Locked On Mavs will be the same. I'll be bringing on some reoccurring guests, some people that you guys like. I'll be bringing those people on, so it won't just be me solo all the time for sure. But yeah, we'll continue on the show. Nothing changes about the show. It'll stay the way that it is, except for we lose an incredible Mavs voice. That Cuban will be signing your checks now. That if I lost to Cuban is what happened here. Like,
let me say this too. It is kind of when I look at it. I grew up in small town Kentucky. My first NBA game, my only NBA games, was going 6 hours up to Indianapolis to Pacers games to see Danny Granger and those guys. And to think back then, hey, someday you're going to work for like a pro franchise. I was just like, dude, like what? That's just never going to happen. And for me right now, I've been blessed over the past, 6-7 years, but even more blessed, still at the moment of being able to say, hey, I have two things I'm super passionate about in the world. And that is, the church and my faith and Jesus, and also the game of basketball and Mavericks. And I kind of get to do right now kind of both of those, be a pastor, but also work for the Mavs and do some fun content stuff. We don't have all the stuff hammered down of some shows and stuff I'll be on, but my voice will still be there. It'll be in a different way. It won't be every day. But I'm sure we'll be doing crossovers and all this stuff. Yeah. And I'll be having a little bit more rules. I won't be able to say some things. So.
That's correct. we will abide by none of those rules over here on Locked On Mavs.
Nick will be having me on and like, all right, tell me about this, and try to get me in trouble. And I can't do that now.
We'll bring Bobby Caralla on and we'll try to make him say something bad about Dwight Powell.
Oh man.
So that's where we're going. That's the announcement. Isaac Harris will be leaving in the near future, and then I'll be bringing on some reoccurring guests, I guess I can call them co-hosts if they'll be pretty permanent. So that's the plan for the show going forward. Hopefully you'll like it. Let me know in the comment section who you would want me to bring on. I'm curious what you think about that. And check back in because we'll do a live show where you guys can say your goodbyes to Isaac and from the show and bring up memories and things like that. All that. We wouldn't have the Raccoon Squad without you, by the way.
That's true. That's true. The old raccoon story back in the day.
I told Rylan Stiles, our Locked On Thunder host, who started before he started with Locked On Thunder. He's a giant Mavs fan and listened to our show and was a listener. And I told him that you were leaving, and I said, I have to tell you something about Locked On Mavs. And he goes, is the Raccoon Squad story not real?
Oh. Oh, Rylan.
I was like, no. It's very real. That the raccoons were actually in your backyard with the pear tree and all that. That was all true.
Very, very true story. Yeah.
True. There you go. There you go. Thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs.
No. I'll be around. We'll knock out these next 2 weeks and have fun with it, and then we can have fun on the last episode.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Boom.